Welcome, it's Kristen from Life of Crafting, and I'm going to start my July of 2022 Sheetload of Cards sketch. This is a sketch that is released by the YouTube channel called Call Me Crafty Al. Once a month she puts out a sketch that in this particular one you're supposed to use 3 12x12 pattern papers. It'll yield 12 cards. She does give you the adjustments of how to do it if you only want to make one. Knowing me, if you're not aware, my husband and I have an online retail store. I make huge bulks of cards to use as giveaways for my customers. And this is a great way for me to use up a lot of paper. I'm still trying to get rid of quite a bit here. I don't have... Well, I do have 12x12s, obviously, but this sketch is one kind of having a little bit of a tough time with because there's the 3 different papers, but you have the 2 like next to each other, and then there's just like a sentiment. So, you know, I don't know why. I really can't say why. I'm just having a tough time. I've seen what she made with hers, just having a tough time envisioning it. So I thought to myself, let me just play with some papers that I really need to get out of here just to make my life happy. And we'll just roll with it. Don't have any plans, you know, like it's not calling me to make anything specific. So I have had in my stash, this is... Some people think it's called textile. It is not. This is paper packs that is from a company called Papertrey Ink. Papertrey Ink, if you're not familiar with them. I had bought this paper, God, it's got to be, let's see if there's even a year on them. I don't even know. I do know that on the website it says it is sold out. Their papers are, I believe, an 8x8. Yes, 8x8. I do kind of like, it's a little different in the sense it has this page that comes over as a flap to protect the papers that are in here. This particular paper has been around, like I said, if I had to guess, 6 or 8 years for me. I've used pieces and parts to match up with other papers as I've needed fill in and stuff, but I'm getting to this point now where having it around, I'm finding, which one of these? It's this one. One of these has just all remnants in it, and I find these remnants all over the place. So it's time. It is time to go. If you're like me, you have paper packs that you love, but enough's enough. I'm at that point where, yeah, enough's enough. So as you can see, there's only 6 papers in this pattern paper, and they're very interchangeable. You've got, well, let me look back to the front. You've got these 2 that are music notes. These have music in the back, but the snowflake is more predominant to the front. I have striped and I have a polka dot. If my recollection is correct, the red in this is very close to the cherry cobbler from Stamping Up. And the green is just a very like mossy color I can find. Again, Hobby Lobby papers will come to my rescue on this because I have one that's still in the wrapper. I have, and there's 36 with 6 of each sheets. So I don't know if I'm going to use all of this paper up in this series or not. I'm not even sure, like I'm looking at this one, unless I count, I don't even know what's missing. Because the papers aren't even like glued in the pack anymore, I'm assuming I've probably used some of them. So it calls for the 12x12 sheet to be cut. She gives you, this is the 12x12 sheet being cut up, and you're going to have a small strip here and a small strip there left. You're going to have, it'll be about 1.5 inches by 4, or 1.5 inches by 8 in length. So long enough that I can still do some other cards with these, and then you're having a cardstock piece to cut for this layer that is going behind this triangular piece, and you will have a sheet that you're going to need to cut out ovals for your sentiment and or image going there. I am going to probably have another layer of paper, cardstock paper behind. This one she's showing in a floral. And depending on what I do here, I'm going to look at, I have a lot, and I mean a lot, of pre-cut dies that you could get at like Hobby Lobby. They're like in a pack that hangs in the center aisles during the Christmas season. I have ones with a Santa face. I have snowflakes. So this may be a good pack for me to also blow out. If you know what I'm talking about, they're there year after year after year. I've also gotten from Hobby Lobby in the gift wrap aisle some different tags that look to me that they would be very good for doing stuff with crafting. So I'm going to start cutting out some of the design, and I will think about the image and or sentiment after I get those done. So I'm going to cut at least a few of these, and I'll come back and show you where my progress is on that. Just getting started, and I went through those scraps, and already I'm finding in my scraps, these are 3 inches. So I'm going to have a bunch to start with that are these 2, then the 3 inches, and this was a 4 inch. So I'm going to already have these, and I should mention too is I'm gonna have to pay attention because of the music notes and stuff that I cut these in the right direction. The stripes aren't really gonna matter which direction they go in, and the polka dots aren't gonna matter, but every other piece of paper I have here has music on it, those 4, and I'm gonna have to make sure when I cut there's a 5 1/4 by 4 that I'm cutting them in the right direction. So fun times coming. Working through this paper pack, and I should have mentioned it is a single-sided. There is no print on the back. I'm also remembering why using this paper sometimes was difficult, and it's that there's this one print out of like all these other prints that is so bright that I feel like it just doesn't mix and match. And I should have said that this paper pack has the name Peace Be Still on the back, but it was really known as Holiday Flourishes and Swirls. So, like I said, this was, and that's the other thing I like is that they have this, so it's almost like a book that you can put on your book, like you can put in your paper packs and still see. So I do like their packaging. Anyway, I got off on a tangent there. So this is where I'm kind of stuck, was I had the scraps that I cut in 3x3s, and this is one of them. And I've just decided I am going to roll with it. I am just going to mix and match and not get myself worked up. What I was looking at though was how to best make the use of the paper, because I told you mine is 8x8. So I started playing around with, because if, like I said, if you look, 5 1/4 and 5 1/4 is 10 1/2. That leaves you with 1.5 inches over here if you have 12x12. I have 8x8, so by me cutting at 5 1/2, that leaves me with a 2 3/4 inch size strip like this. At first I was trying to see is if I cut it 5 by 3 3/4, then I would be able to get my 3x3, but if I did that, as you can see, it's much smaller. And then if I use my 3x3s on it, this is just hypothetical, there's just not as much of the background paper showing. So I'm debating if I want to do a smaller base, but still be able to get the 3x3s like this, or I can go with the larger base and then I'll get a smaller square on the front, which layering it up is going to, you know, obviously take up some of that space. But I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go with this bigger background piece and the smaller squares in this. And it's really going to give me quite a few based on the amount of sheets I have here. So that's just where I'm thinking now. Again, I hope I'm not confusing the issue, but I'm also trying to bring you along on this journey of, you know, what I'm going to do, because I do have quite a few that I got out of my scraps. This was all of them. So I am going to have to do, you know, that many of them in a 3x3 anyway, just to use up what I have. And then I'll have to, you know, then modify so that I can, there's another one. When I cut my new sheets, I want to start cutting them probably in, like I said, the 2 and 3/4 inch squares instead of 3, so I can not have a bunch of waste on my my sheets because of their size. So I'm going to prep a card. I'm probably going to lay out quite a few of them, and then I'll be back. So I'm back. I have cut out what I can cut out, and as you can see, this particular one, and I've got so many of them to come up with, is just, it's just not blending. So what I'm thinking to do, you know, when you got something like this to kind of tone, I'm trying to get myself flat, to tone this down, what I'm thinking is I got to see which of my inks is going to kind of blend to match this the most. So far, I picked these 2 stamps. I'm thinking is maybe just putting this on a block and just stamping right on this, and that should, by adding some color in the green, pull them together and tone this paper down. Otherwise, I can do some sponging on there of color. I didn't really want to do that. I kind of have to be fast about it. So we're going to go through that, and then to give you an idea what I was talking about with the stuff from Hobby Lobby, when I can get to this. Here was some of the stuff I've got in my stash. Here's some of the snowflakes that they sell that I have left over. Thinking that I could do them and just do a small sentiment on a like a little tag with a bow. I don't think that's really gonna work. It's too big. Here was some of the Santas that they sell. I think he may. He's a little bit more vintagey and aged than the rest of it. So I'll have to wait and see how this comes out before I guess. This was another thing I got in the gift tags. This is too bright. I had a feeling it was gonna be kind of too cutesy. And then this was, yeah, I think the craft of this is not well. But you can kind of see, like, if you buy these, they are a good, like, cheat type of thing. These may not be bad. This was another Hobby Lobby. It's in there, I think, like, where the stickers are. He may not be bad. And they're supposed to be, according to the sketch, an oval here. So maybe him with it and a small sentiment. We'll see. But this is what I was referring to when I said these Hobby Lobby pieces. So far I'm thinking these and the snowflakes may be good. I don't know how many of them I have, but we'll keep going until we run out. So I'll be back. I will have to admit I'm kind of at my wit's end. Here is what the original was, which to me was too bright. I tried the ornaments in the dark and tried that, and they just kind of, to me, didn't match. So I tried doing some red wording over it to kind of find a way to pull that together. That did not work, in my opinion. I then moved on to second generation, and again, did not look right to me. You know, just because the scale and everything just did not work. So then I tried like even more like a third generation. Did not work. Tried to mute it down with a red, and that looked really ridiculous to me. Tried it with a green, equally as ridiculous. And then I brought in a brown. I think my solution to this is going to be, I'm just leaving this paper out of the selection, and I will give myself permission to throw these out because, again, it's paper. I'm here to have fun, and if I'm not doing something that brings me joy, why am I doing it? So if I have to, I'm gonna just pull this paper out, and you know what? This paper may be good for other projects down the road. You know, maybe I can just do something with it by itself. But it's just not gonna work itself into this project. I just don't like the color of it, and sometimes you gotta give yourself that permission to say, you know, I don't have to use all of the paper in a paper pack. I'm gonna use what I like. And then you can just pass along to, you know, I go to these weekend crafts, expo things where they have like a freebie table, and you put your stuff out and somebody else may really like it. You never know. So I have now gone back, I'm pulling that out, and I'm gonna start doing these together with a stripe. And then, like I said, I think I'm going to do what they said with the oval. And then I'm going to just start bringing in some of these as an accent. So, there we go. Project is moving along. So, I will be back. Hello and welcome back. It's Krista. And working on these for several days now. And, still got this stack here, and all of these lovelies were made. I did choose to not use one pack that was the one in the saran wrap, so I am leaving this. I don't know why, but I do know why. It's just because it was just tiring. I mean, I probably have close to 200 cards. I'll see if I can get a final count when I do the wrap up at the end and I put all the descriptions and stuff in there. So what I chose to use for this sentiment was this Queen & Company Foundation Die 5, and I used this stitched oval in there. Let's see, the oval is, got too much crap on here. Oh, it's like a 3 1/4 inch long by maybe 2 inches wide, and this is how I was able to get 6, so I was able to get 12 out of a full sheet by laying them out. And as you can see, there's very little room in between, but I could get 12 out of a sheet, so that made me happy. I did have these laid out because, to give you some ideas, this was a paper I had to pull in because I told you at the beginning I had a lot more of these scraps I used for this, and I want to say I had about 12 backgrounds that I needed that I was not able to get out of the papers. Sorry, what I wound up doing was I basically took the paper that I had and I put them in 2 piles. I split them in half, and I did half of them with it being cut at a 5 1/4 and leaving me that 2 3/4 inch on the side. And then I was able to get, if I show you this way, by doing it that way, I was able to get exactly two out of a sheet. So that was the ones, and you can tell these are the 5, if you look at the amount of reveal around there. This is the 5 1/4 by 4 inch background. So then what I did was I cut the other half in the 3 inch, and then this left me with a 5 inch. So those got cut by 5 inches by 3 3/4, and it left me these like really tiny little scraps, which I don't know. I mean, I guess I could put them in the insides of the cards. I don't know. I was going to show you what scraps I have left. I don't have a ton left, but I do have some. And it was nice because I was able to get 2 sheets and like a scrap. I had this paper that was a scrap that I was able to get one more background from. Oh wait, no, I lied. I got rid of more than that because I got rid of some of this green too. I had this in my stash. I don't even know where that came from. I had this red that was, I don't know what, and then this was a scrap. So again, win, win, win to get the stuff out of here. So that gives you, I brought these out so you could see the reveals. So then what I did was I took the 3-inch that came from the smaller and put them on this, and the smaller that I got in squares on this. So that's how I was able to do it, and I really had very, very little scrap. So anyway, then I wanted to show you was the items I picked to do. Like I said, this was a foundations die, and the stamp, I bought a bunch of different miscellaneous stamps at some of my Stampin' Up demonstrators, like yard sales and stuff. And this was an old Stampin' Up. I don't know which set because the person chose to like pick what they wanted out of the sets and then just put all the others out and just had like a grab bag or whatever. Like you could get like so many for $1 or whatever. So this was one that I picked from there. I really do like how it's stamped out. I did it with the Gina K Cherry Red ink. I love her inks. I just feel like they go a long way before they need to be re-inked, and I feel like you get a nice, clean, crisp, I mean, it just I think is very nice with how it's done. So then the pieces that are on the top, this is how the pack of the snowflakes come. They are, here's the item number. If you catch that, this will only come out at Christmas time at Hobby Lobby. I bought a bunch of them. And what I like about this is you get them when they go on like their half off sale, or well, at least I do. I'll pick up a whole bunch. And for $2, you're getting 20. And for me, if I were to die cut from a piece of glitter paper, I would get, I probably would spend more having to die cut these, because you're basically saying at $1.99, I would get 20. I'm thinking is one sheet of glitter paper is usually $1.99. If you're lucky, they will mark it half off when they do the Paper Studio sale. The most you're gonna get out of a sheet is 12 of these. And I'm thinking this is gonna wind up coming out to be the same price. Maybe you'd get 1 or 2 more out of the sheet, but to have all that work done for you already, good thing. So that was what I put some of these on. This was a, let me see if I had more in here. I don't. They're also out during the Christmas season, and there was 8 of them for, I think, $3.99. I just was trying to use these up. I had bought them to go with a Anna Griffin set that I put up previous. Was a kit that I had, and I bought them specifically to go with the kit. Some other things I just picked up, I found these in my stash later. I do intend to use these on the cards because I think these are gonna go really nice with this sentiment. So there's, again, 20 of these for the $3.99. So this is one I intend to use up. But these were just on the sale because these are regular Paper Studios. I liked these. They're foam glitter stickers. But to me, if I do these, I'm probably going to have to use like 2 or 3 at a time. There's 28 on the sheet. So if I use 2 per card, obviously I'd get 14 for half of the $3.49. Not a bad deal, and I think they're going to go rather nice if I want to do those. I picked these up. You're getting, it says 21, but you're really getting 9, and maybe you'll put a candy with it. I didn't think this was too bad, but this was a little bit more on the pricier side. You're looking at $2.50 for 9. So I'll try it. I don't know. Like I said, can't hurt. And then I thought the candy canes would be another thing that would go well on there. And you get 13 for half of, so what is that, $1.75. Did think that was bad. These are a glitter foam too. To To me, they're nice. It's flat for something to mail. So that's another win. And I didn't have to put these together. Definitely a win. So, you know, for the $1.75 and you divide it, that's like basically, you know, was it 10, 12 cents a piece, something like that. Can't beat that. So far, obviously the best per card price would be one of these two. And they're, like I said, probably going to be starting to see them soon. I did notice when I was at Hobby Lobby the other day, today is July. Ooh, what is today? Is today 15th, 16th, something like that? And I was there a couple days ago because I used up so much of my paper with this paper. I was totally out of the green and I was getting low on the red. I went to the Paper Studio sale this week, and I did see they were starting to put some Christmas out. So I would expect it should be soon. The other consideration why I'm thinking that the trees would be a better thing is you do have to put glue like on a lot of different spots to get these glued down. That's the only drawback, but you know what? You get yourself in a rhythm and it goes. So it's really not that big of a deal. True. So that was my, I've got my sketch hanging up on here. This is my July 2022 card sketch. I probably feel that by modifying those, again, this was supposed to be for 3 sheets of 12 by 12. You were going to get 12 cards. So you were getting 4 cards out of one 12 by 12 sheet. I was getting 2 cards out of an 8 by 8. So I don't know. I'm sitting here like scratching my head if that would, yeah, I don't know by doing it in the, if you were going to really gain anything in a 12 by 12 sheet. I don't know. If you know, please leave a comment below. Let me know that. I'm off the top of my head saying to myself, I don't know if you were going to get, I mean, I gained it because my paper was a different, more odd size, but you may want to just stick with it. Then again, I'm thinking if you do 5, yeah, you may, and if you turn it sideways, I don't know. What do I know? Anyway, may you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and we'll catch you in the next one because I have another one I've already got laid out that's ready to come up, and I'm loving this paper, so you're gonna have to check that one out. I'll see you next time. Wait, I forgot. I didn't show you my scraps, but the ironic piece that I wanted to end with is I had such a big deal going on, didn't I, about this paper here? I went through all of those other sheets. Do you know I didn't have any more of this paper? I think this was the scraps where I got this from. I don't even remember what I used this paper for. I'm like, man, my memory is going bad. So this was what I had left. A lot of these like more chunkier pieces. These were like a 2.5 by like 2 1/4. So I know that I'm gonna get some good scrap cards. I have, like I said, some that are these like thin. They're probably going right in the trash. I may keep some of this just for a this is ones I had from before. I may keep some of them just to see what I'm gonna have. I have a circular one. I don't even know where I got that from. So I may have some, you know, borders on some cards, but we'll see. But I have a lot of this chunkier one, and like I said, I'm going to try and do at least a once a month, you know, how to use up scrap kind of cards. So all of this is going into a Ziploc bag for right now, and then I'm going to start rotating those scraps around to do my once a month card, and I'll stick them in there. Who knows where they'll wind up. But I forgot about that. I had to share that. All that worrying, and I didn't even have that paper anymore. How ridiculous of me. I was so overreacting. I admit it. See ya.